What's up guys, Shouri here, and today I want to talk to you about Fort. A lot of people kind of gave up on this guy once he got nerfed with 20% less damage, but he is actually still pretty insane. And not just that, he's actually quite unique in what he brings to the table in multiple different game types that I want to go over with you guys and show you the different strategies this guy and this guy alone can actually do. And one of them is on this map in Crystal. What you do is you put your back to that little padded wall right there, and then you put your dome shield out in front of you, and that'll actually give you a full bubble of 360-degree coverage, and you can shoot very long range at that crystal, forcing the other team to come after you and expose themselves with absolutely no cover just to be able to start shooting you. And that means that they are going to just get absolutely screwed by this. The reason for it is them being out in the open. By the time they get to you, you can just start jumping up and down and moving away and actually kill them before they ever get close to killing you. And if you're level 10, if you are out of combat for 5 seconds, you actually get another like 2,000 armor, which is absolutely absurd on this guy. So right here, we're also demonstrating the fact that he can snipe people from across the map, basically. And as long as you do a good job of making sure that the way you're dodging stuff is jumping up and down vertically and not going as much side to side, because the way that Fort works is there are no headshots. It all goes on, are you hitting someone with area on effect damage, which just means it's next to them and explodes, or are you hitting them with a direct hit? So if you hit a direct hit, it basically gives you the equivalent of what a headshot would have given. But since you shoot 4 at a time, if you go side to side, as you can see here, I'm not able to hit all 4 shots in the burst on those direct damage shots that give double damage. But if I just jump straight up and down, it is hitting 3 to 4 of those shots, which is absolutely insane accuracy-wise, giving you just absurd damage. And it is surprisingly really good to dodge just by jumping up and down without too much side-to-side movement. It isn't that important when you're going side to side, so don't really think that you're missing out on that much, or you're going to be taking so much damage that it's not worth it. You actually outputting that much extra damage is so worth it for you to just kind of not necessarily need to strafe as much, especially because with Fort you have a shield. Another great thing about Fort Shield, especially on Crystal Assault, is you can put it up for you and your teammates to shoot that crystal and have the other team forced to come in closer to you. Right there, I even put my shield up top to where the sniper was and his little friend. That way they had to come down and they couldn't just keep shooting us from up top where they were head glitching my 2 teammates. So forcing that Scotty to come down and actually fight us while also blocking a lot of what that Osis was doing damage wise really ended up helping turn the tide of this thing and made them really have to commit to coming down here to come after us. And we were able to kill everyone but that Gloria. And again, we're going to use my shield to block as many of the angles as possible from the side, making them come up closer and just right on top of us. And since we did end up having a chemist, that is so dangerous for the other team, because if they get on top of us, we get heals and they have to take damage from the chemist. So it is just brutal, especially with Fort, where if all of them are coming in and they all take that AoE damage when my things explode on them, it is just absolutely brutal to throw that shield and block that damage and make them come in close. And especially when you think about how good Fort is against things like a Letta, this guy is actually an insane third to the standard Shell Judix comp inside of Crystal Assault, and I think he's such a good option that most people overlook. And another great game type Fort has is Payload Race, especially on this map, and I'll show you why in just a sec. But one great thing on any of the Payload maps is the fact that he can do so much damage in burst from really far away, and by far the most overlooked thing that Fort can do that is absolutely insane on this map for his team is throwing these shields down, especially when it comes to keeping your team alive. So when I mean this, I don't just mean by shielding your team, but preemptively throwing it between your teammate and a sniper, throwing it over the Sentry's turret, and making it to where if you have an Aletta on your team, the turret will be shooting your shield instead of that Aletta, so he can just go straight for that Sentry. Another great thing with Aletta and Lob as well is you can throw that shield in front of a Scotty and block his web, and also the second ult Dance. So your aggro guys can literally just run at will, bouncing between moving the cart, hitting the center block, or letting you do that from long range. All the while, you're keeping huge pressure up on their spawn so they can really never set up on the map. It is just absolutely insane amounts of damage you put out, and then the utility of your shield and your ult to keep your team safe and just able to move anywhere they want, whenever they want, is just such a huge thing that most people don't realize. That little bit of stuff on this map in particular with the block in the middle makes it to where you can win these games so fast, even 100-16. It is just crazy what you can do with this character. And for TDM, there's really two separate strategies you can do. One strategy is just go in there and throw your shield down, immediately start bursting down either a sniper or a hunter. That way you can go ahead, kill them before they're ever able to get through your shield, and then do that basically enough to get enough kills for your team that you're putting such constant pressure on. You're getting more kills than deaths on that, and also everyone's having to worry about you, that your teammates can really just run around and do what they want. And because of the way that your shield works and how much damage you do in one burst, this strategy, especially like I said, against things like a hunter, mark, or any of the snipers, is almost an impossibility to lose these 1v1s. The reason for that is all of these characters have one thing in common. The way that they kill you is to actually just stand there and do that damage to you. Of course, they jump around and they do have some ultimate abilities and stuff, and they have smoke. But since you have AoE damage, and when they try to wall peek you, you literally just stick this to their body and they take it behind the wall with them. So all of the things that are traditionally used to keep these characters safe doesn't do anything against Fort. And none of them can do enough damage to break your shield before you can hit a burst to 4 onto someone. So if you throw that shield down and immediately hit someone with that burst, they're just absolutely screwed. And honestly, this is the most straightforward part of any strategy for any character in the game. Throw down your shield, immediately hit that burst, and then just try to get back until your shield's backed up. That way you can go back in there, do more damage the same way, and then just kind of play safe to make sure that you don't die and put your team in a bad spot. But again, this stuff only works against like the more traditional pure damage characters. But when you throw into the mix more aggro characters or a healer, things do get a lot harder to just throw that shield down and then get your kill before they really do anything to you, just because you're going to have to miss some of your shots in your burst. You will not be able to hit them every time like this with all 4 bullets like you could if they were playing on a hunter or any of the traditional damage characters. And the way that you get around this problem is by basically playing as a team. You output so much absurd amount of damage, and your ultimate gets people to be just yanked in close into a circle that highlights and makes a lot of noise so your teammates know it's there. So even like in this game, if you're going in by yourself, your teammates benefit so much from what you do, no matter what hero the other team's playing. But even more importantly, especially in this game, I went in solo before, it doesn't matter what your team's playing either. And this might be the only hero in the entire game that will make everyone on your team better. And the reason I say that is the fact that you can use your AoE damage and your bombs to hit people around corners that are wall peeking. You can throw your shield in front of snipers to be able to close the distance for not just you, but your teammates. Right here, we just trapped all three of them and got all of them very low. And then my teammates were able to get those 2 kills almost instantly. And we got a 3-to-1 trade off of that. And what makes Fort so much different than all the other characters is the fact that he does long-range damage that can almost one-shot people, while also being able to do damage to multiple targets that are next to where you're shooting. It is just such a good ability, and not just that, but it also sticks to the target and can follow them behind the walls. And then you have your ult that sucks everyone in. It is just truly an amazing team player that can put out an absurd amount of damage. And with any of the aggro characters, they can help you finish these kills so easily that it is almost just criminal to be able to shield them, throw your ult to get everyone that you need out from hiding, and then also just have them one shot from one burst damage, maybe even getting both of them low like I just did in the middle here. And if you have something like a Yaw or a Letta that can just go in there and get it, or in this case a Johnny Jet, they are just absolutely screwed. I throw my ult, give them all an easy target from the Johnny Jet, and we get 12 assists going 5-2 with 121,000 damage to actual heroes. That is just insane amounts of damage, which did allow us to win, especially because we did have pretty good randoms that game. Shout out to those guys. And I know what you're thinking, guys. Going in solo on control is maybe the worst idea you can ever have. And yeah, you're pretty much right. But not on this guy. This guy, like I said, can play with literally any hero. And this game is another challenger bonus game, so we are getting outmatched in pretty much every way possible. But there is a really cool interaction with the heroes on our team. When Iris uses his Piebot to heal you, it ends up giving you 10% extra damage. So with that, you do so much crazy damage that even just the Sindri turret alone is enough to help you take out a lot of these heroes. And the other cool thing is, not only are you getting that extra 10% damage, but it's healing you as well. And so when you throw your shield down to block that damage, and you can go ahead and get that first burst of 4 shots off, and it ends up getting most of the damage you need to kill them, it doesn't just get that by the time that your shield blows up, but it's healing you the entire time as well. And by the time that cooldown comes back up to give your shield back, you will be able to heal all the way back to full as well. Especially if you have a good Iris, which my Iris this game was continuously putting the Piebot up, so it was healing me the whole time, and he was just doing a great job. But if you have someone willing to do that and knows what they're doing, it is so much extra damage, and you are an impossible kill on the map. And it is just absolutely frustrating to have to run in and try to get through that shield, only to be stopped by that heal from the Iris, and then every 9 seconds you get a new shield back up. So with your extra 10% damage, you're making them have to play really careful and even get out of the circle, which is how we won there. And even one of the top wallings in the world couldn't do much, even on a challenger bonus game, And it's not his fault. It's not like he did something bad. It's just simply an insane amount of damage output. And not just that, the fact that they have to break your shields and then go through your Piebot heals and then your shield every 9 seconds. You're also going to have your Iris's ult that comes up every 30. It just isn't something most heroes and even team of threes can even gum through to be able to kill you unless they're very coordinated and even just play a lot together. But as you can see, we still have all our health and we just killed this insane team of 3, including really skilled players like this Osis that put that insane teleporter on top of the map. And we also have a 0 Kelvin and a Letta all on this team that really are just taking huge amounts of damage from me and have no real answer to be able to stop it, other than the fact that challenger bonus teams, it's rough. But even with that, they are still just getting absolutely shredded by this fort. Even after that nerf, man, it really isn't that bad. Just because you have to shoot them a little bit more than one clip to be able to get the kill doesn't necessarily mean that this character got nerfed. Your shields are so good, and your damage is still so good. Even 0 Kelvin with these really good players just can't do much about it. And then guys, the last mode is free-for-all, and I'm just going to give you the basics on how to do it with Fort, and it's going to be very similar to the first TDM strategy. I'll leave a link in the description to my Fort 15-0 challenge for free-for-all, and that explains in much more detail how to do it. But basically, it's the first TDM strat to where you want to do your best to get a shield between you and one enemy and try to do as many 1v1s as possible. And what you want to do, you want to hit them with that first bit of burst damage, and then you just want to start jumping and moving around as much as you can to be able to get that last hit. Because after you hit those first 4 balls, you just gotta hit one more and then it's all over. And right there, even though we got ulted by the Scotty, we were able to take him out. And this guy is ulting us with his Osis as well. And it's just no fear because we know we're gonna have our shield back. We know that there is a heal right in front of us. So by making sure we put our shield between the enemies and us, we're able to get the heal. And then we used our ult to kind of just yank everyone from their little hiding spots out into the open, and we're gonna just keep doing that over and over. And if people hide behind something, we're gonna just shoot the ground next to them to go ahead and kill them, and then we put a shield between us and them. Again, it's rinse and repeat, just like that first TDM strategy. And again, in the description will be the link to the 15-0 video for Fort, and it'll be in the pinned comment too, just to make it easier. So these are really all the best strategies for all the different game types. I hope that this has helped, just like the amazing help I get from Jordy when it comes to thumbnails. And if you want him to work for you as well, go look in my description, figure out how to contact him, and get your own commission. And if you would like to support me, please guys, just like, subscribe, and share these videos with your friends. I'd really appreciate it, and I hope you all have a great day.